Hey everybody, welcome to the very first online version of the film history course at SWIC. There are a few interesting things with this online version versus the in-person version, and I will love to get into those things in detail. But before then, let's take a look at Blackboard. Blackboard is kind of essential for the course, especially because it's online. There's not a ton of material up on Blackboard currently, but you should be able to access the course and see a few things that are kind of important. So if you could for me, just log into Blackboard, make sure that the course is available, and if it's not, email me as soon as possible. It's really important that you can access Blackboard for the course. Under the course, you should see announcements, syllabus, course content, discussions, email, my grades, and Blackboard help. So if you don't see any of those things, hey, that's a bit of an issue. Maybe course content doesn't pop up until I post some course content. So if you miss just that one, no big deal. So under announcements, you should see that there's an announcement already made. I made this on Sunday, which is today when I'm recording this, but you're probably viewing it at a later date. I think I'll be publishing this on Tuesday, so you could be watching it at any point after Tuesday. But you should be able to see this course announcement, and hopefully this actually gets forwarded to your email. Every week I am going to post a new announcement that includes a video, at least one video, that's kind of our lecture materials, and then it'll be up to you to kind of go out there and find the film, whether that's on streaming or even physical media, whatever your preference is there. And then you'll do whatever assignment we have for the week. And that's kind of a regular assignment that we'll be having, and I'll get into that when we get into the actual syllabus. But announcements is really important. If you don't get that in your email, it'll be up to you to hop into Blackboard every week and look for the announcement that includes the links that are essential for you to complete the material for the week. Syllabus. So we're going to go over the syllabus in detail in this very video, but if you'd like to access just the text version of the syllabus, if you just go under syllabus there's a file for you. So you can follow along with this video. I'll actually put it up there and stuff, all the text while I'm reading it. So you don't necessarily have to have it downloaded, but it's probably good practice to have it just in case you need to reference like just one quick thing, or maybe something about grades or something, where you don't have to go back to this video and try to sort out where I talked about this specific thing for you. Course content. So normally, if you've been in any of my other classes, I would post the PowerPoint presentations that I give for my lectures here, so you can kind of follow along in class or reference these things after the fact. But because my PowerPoints are now in video form, those are all just going to stay as like a video link. So the only things that you'll have under course content are reading materials, and then things like guidelines for your final paper. You'll find that stuff under course content. So that won't populate too quickly in the course, but if you're looking for some kind of document that I reference other than the syllabus, you'll be able to find that in course content. Discussions is like, it's kind of like an online forum where you can talk back and forth and stuff, and maybe I'll pose a few questions that we can have a bit of a conversation on, especially if it's something really subjective and I expect you guys to kind of work things out through conversations with your peers. But it won't be quite as intensive as a few of my other courses if you've been in my other courses. So, you know, it may come up from time to time, but this won't be a regular thing. It won't be every single week. Email, if you need to email me or peers, I think that you can access your peers here. I certainly can, but, you know, I have a different view than you. But if you need to email me, you can do that here. You can also do that through the emails that are listed on the syllabus, which I would greatly prefer. So I have a SWIC email account, and then I just have a Gmail account. And if you email me through the Gmail account, I will absolutely get it. If you email me through the Swick account, I have been known just to lose those things. I don't know how it happens. My Swick email is supposed to get forwarded to my Gmail account, and sometimes it just gets lost. I'm not really sure why. But if you need to get in touch with me, Gmail is the best way. Swick is important, or the Swick email account is important if we have to talk about something official. Like if you want to talk about that you have a 98% on this assignment and you're confused as to why, anything that has like that confidential level of data in it needs to be through the Swick account. Otherwise, Gmail is good. So any kind of general inquiries, any kind of casual emails, that should definitely be through my Gmail account. And then grades is probably the place that is most important on the Blackboard site. So as you do these weekly assignments or bi-weekly assignments, or however we structure it, you'll see your grade for that assignment, and then you'll see feedback on that assignment too. So it's like I give you maybe a paragraph or two on the I think it's quick comments. I think that's what it's called here. So you should be able to see that. I've heard that some people have issues seeing that on like the Blackboard app on their phone, and may have some issues like just finding where that is. And because I don't have grades up currently, I can't show you exactly where that is just yet. But if you are having trouble with that, if you want to see like written feedback for your project, since we don't have physical papers that you're turning in every few weeks, it's all just going to be through Blackboard. So you need to see that feedback in Blackboard. So if you have trouble with that, please do email me, and I'll try to kind of work you in the right direction. If many people have issues with that, I'll make a little video for it and stuff once we get a few grades in, and then you should have no issues at all. Blackboard help, if you have trouble with Blackboard in general, if you've never used Blackboard for a class before, Blackboard help can help you with that. So if you want to open that stuff up and just learn about where things are supposed to be located, or how to post things or embed things, or all sorts of stuff, there's a ton of options here for you to learn about the Blackboard platform. Okay, so hopefully you do have some experience with Blackboard. If not, check out that Blackboard help. What I'm going to do now is hop into the syllabus, and we're just going to go over the syllabus like basically line by line, so there's no questions about anything, hopefully, because we don't have like that direct and back and forth feedback. If you do have questions at any point about any of the stuff that I'm going to go over, feel free to email me. You can also check in with me anytime between 2 and 5 on Tuesdays. So I'm going to make that time available to you. It's basically the same amount of time that we would have with the regular course. I'm available during this period, so if you have questions about the week's activities, if you have questions about the course in general, questions about grades and stuff, I'll make myself available on Teams for you, so we can discuss whatever's on your mind, really. So this is not like a formal class meeting or anything like that. It's just a time for you to get in touch with me where we can actually talk. If you can't make the Tuesday 2 to 5, that's no problem. You just need to talk to me via email. And if you need time to like have a back and forth with me, we can schedule something for a time that works for both of us. Okay, so here's what the course syllabus says. You are in the film history course. The section and stuff it's film 215 section 1. This is spring 2021. My name is Trevor Younger. That's how you say that. It's totally fine just to call me Trevor, though. I'm very casual about these things. Please don't call me Mr. Younger. That's kind of weird and sounds a little bit like high school. If you want to call me Professor Younger, you can sound very professional. That's fine. Trevor is just fine, though. I don't feel like an old person if you don't call me Mr. Younger. Okay, class time, that 2 to 5. Remember that that's just for you to contact me and have a one-on-one, and we can schedule any time in that 2 to 5 p.m., or you can just pop in if you'd like. The class is accessible on demand, so I'm going to record all of our lecture materials. I'll publish those things on YouTube. You watch them online, and then you do the work associated with it. So you can access it at any point during the week, but you can't let it a week lapse. So you need to have this stuff done before the next Monday. So you have the entire weekend to do this stuff if you prefer to do your homework on the weekend, but don't let things build up. So that's the real caveat with this. So it's very convenient to be able to do these things on your own time whenever you kind of feel like it throughout the week. But it's really easy to kind of slip into I'm just going to keep putting this thing off until the last minute, and then maybe let that lapse. So if you let that week lapse, you run the risk of getting a 0 on the weekly assignments, and you'll see that the weekly assignments are very weighted very heavily. So don't get zeros. Zeros are just absolutely tank your grade. If you have to do something that's not perfect, do the thing that's not perfect versus the thing that's, not anything, right? Don't get zeros is the deal. So I think we're technically the Belleville campus, but it doesn't matter if you're not at the Belleville campus because we're online. So no sweat there. There's a phone number for you to call for SWIC information. So if you need to call for like public safety information or something, you can call this number and it'll redirect you to whatever you need. We don't have a room. It's an online class. So don't show up anywhere, please. Email addresses. So I mentioned this before, but this Gmail account is much, much better for me. There is the swic.edu account. Again, use that for any kind of official emails that you need to contact me for. Any kind of material that might be confidential should go through the swic.edu one. If it's any kind of casual email or just a simple question about the class, Gmail. Much preferred. I should get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. So if you send me an email and you get nothing back in that 48 hours, especially if it's the SWIC one, send me a follow-up and just ask me if I got that email. There's a chance if you're new to me, or new to my inbox and stuff, you get filtered out in the spam. So definitely follow up with me if it takes me more than 2 days to get back to you, because under no circumstances should that happen. There is one caveat here, and that is that my wife is pregnant and we're expecting the baby in very early March or late February. So if that happens, then all bets are off. I'm probably not on my phone or email for that day or two that birthing takes, which is completely wild. But if I don't get back to you for 2 days in that late February point, just give me one extra day, and I'll definitely get back to you as soon as possible. I'll do my best to set up like an automatic reply that some people have that like, hey, I went and did this thing. I probably won't email you back for a while. But there is a very good chance that I forget to do that, especially if things happen suddenly. There's a website. It's swic.edu. You can find all sorts of information on the swic.edu website, things like snow days and COVID restrictions. Remember, our class is not at campus or not on campus, so we have no snow days, quite unfortunately. We do get off for MLK Day, so you get 1 day before this class actually starts, before your material goes up. But I think that's about it for us in terms of days off. So, course description. Hopefully you guys read this before when you signed up for the class, but I'll read it to you anyway. This class is a survey of the history of motion pictures, influential directors and cinematic movements around the world, and the historical, political, and technological developments that have influenced the cinematic art form. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Yeah, we're going to visit film history. Film history is pretty self-explanatory. Prereqs, you need to be at English 101 level for the class. If you're in English 101 right now, that's fine. If you've completed English 101, that's fine too. Okay, course objectives. So by the end of the semester, you should be able to do all of these things. And if at any point you feel like you can't do any of these things, please let me know and we'll try to kind of reinforce certain aspects here. So by the end of the semester, you should be able to identify important cinematic movements, genres, and periods. You should be able to explain the distinguishing features of the above. You should be able to identify important film directors and the characteristics of their work. You should be able to explain how technological developments have affected the art form, and you should be able to analyze how social, political, and economic contexts have influenced films, and how films have at times influenced society. So yeah, we'll do all of these things, probably this one and this one pretty commonly, and then all of this other stuff just kind of happens naturally within the course of the semester. Okay, more stuff. College-wide course competencies. Students who complete a degree from SWIC will gain competency skills related to communication, reasoning, and citizenship. In this class, students will develop skills or be exposed to the following competencies. So, computer literacy, absolutely. Critical thinking, definitely. And writing, those are like 3 landmarks of this class. I would also say oral communication is part of it. We're going to have a final presentation at the end of the semester, and it may take a couple of weeks actually, given how many students are in this course, and we might have to make them fairly short, which is, a benefit to you guys for sure. Textbooks, course materials. There are no textbooks for this course. Hopefully you didn't buy anything, or there wasn't anything listed for the course and cost you any money. If so, I would take it back before it's too late. Get a refund on that stuff because you don't need it. All right, so our grading procedure. Students in Film 215 will create a film analysis blog via WordPress, Blogger, or another approved platform. Students will be responsible for weekly entries in their blogs relating to course discussions and films screened in the class. Each entry must be 2 pages, double-spaced, not including any photos or multimedia that may be included. Various assignments and discussions will be given throughout the term. Final paper and presentation will be due on the finals week. So yeah, you'll have to create a blog for the course. That is the big part of the class, and it's not exactly weekly entries. At the beginning of the class, it certainly is. It's every week you do your blog entry, and then once we get around the halfway point, or a little bit past the halfway point, we are also kind of we're juggling your final paper, and there's some final paper stuff that you're doing, so we kind of alternate between your blog entries and final paper stuff that you turn in to me. But in every such case, 2 pages double-spaced is the idea. Now that's not to say that like someone with 1 3/4 page is gonna see a significant reduction in their grade versus someone who has like the full 2 pages, but it's all just like fluff writing to get you to the 2 pages. So concise writing is really important to us, right? Like don't try to over exaggerate things or use flowery words just to kind of make things larger. We want content. We want research. Stuff like that is really important. 2 pages is not a lot of space to really like establish a firm idea or a firm judgment about the material we're covering in class. So you should easily make the 2 pages. And I think a good rule of thumb here is like, if you don't have 5 paragraphs, you don't have enough material at all. 5 paragraphs at an absolute minimum. So that is worth 50% of your grade. So these online writing assignments, almost every week you'll be expected to write approximately 2 pages of typewritten content about the week's material. This writing can be subjective in nature, but will be graded on its academic quality. Don't misspell names, titles, and research your assertions. So don't just like guess about things that's easily found online. Don't make assumptions about why they chose to do what they did unless you look it up and no one really knows and people are just like kind of making guesses. You can make those guesses too, but make educated guesses. Look at what other people think and then kind of build your ideas off of that, especially if you're looking at what like experts think about things, right? Especially if these people are long since dead. If the filmmakers are still alive, go directly to the source. See if there's interviews with the filmmakers and try to build the idea that way. That is so much better than just taking wild guesses. And this ends up costing people maybe more than it should, names and titles that are misspelled. So it's super easy to look these things up and plug them in. imdb.com is a great resource for you just to look up like character names, actors names, directors names. We'll do like, say like the French New Wave. There are like these French names that are spelled kind of funny, you know, and just make sure that you're spelling it properly. A lot of the time they will be spelled properly in my my videos or my PowerPoint presentations, so you can copy them there too. If you make notes on things, that's totally fine, but definitely like check and make sure that things are spelled properly. Spell check will get you a long way for a lot of things, but titles and names not necessarily, right? So definitely check those things as you work. Yeah, so it's worth a lot. It's worth 50% of your grade, so definitely keep up with it. Don't get behind. Definitely don't get a 0 on it. But we can talk about some extra credit just in case you fall behind a little bit too. Participation, that's worth 25% of your grade. So a significant portion of this class depends on your participation in discussions on films viewed in class and material assigned as homework. So anything that I give you in terms of an exam, I'm required to give you some sorts of examinations. They're not going to be like Scantron kind of super formal final exams or anything, but I'll give you some kinds of assignments that'll give me feedback as to how much information you're picking up, but it's not going to be worth a ton of your grade, right? The other parts of this are participating in discussion. So when I mentioned before on Blackboard that that discussions area, if you participate there, I get to see like real-time analytics and how much you typed, and it's really easy for me to give a grade assessment there. So that's very helpful too, and just your constant on-time submissions of this stuff goes into the participation grade as well. So very easy to get this high grade here, and so long as you're doing everything on time, you're probably okay with participation. Even if you're not like a great like test taker and stuff, I don't want that to be a huge hurdle with your grade. And if you could do me this favor, I promise you that any kind of like quiz examination things won't be a huge portion of your grade so long as you don't cheat on them. So it's really easy to cheat on them with an online course, right? That you can just like look things up easily. But it really helps me understand how well you're picking up the material if you can just like not cheat. You can study, you can look at your notes before you do the things, but if you're looking at it while you're taking the quiz, then that doesn't give me a good idea of how well you picked up the material. So I promise you it won't be worth very much of your grade at all. Like those exams will be less than 5% of your overall grade at the end of the semester if I don't see like rampant cheating. So please don't do that for me, and we will be all good. There's a final paper. So the final paper is worth 15% of your final grade, and this is a formal 5-page MLA double-spaced paper. So if you're currently in that English 101 class, this is going to go like hand in hand with what you're doing in English 101, right? Like there's a very specific formatting guide for MLA style. And when we get closer to the final paper, I will go over some aspects of that and point you toward some places that can kind of help you with a works cited page and just like general formatting and internal citations and stuff, so you can have an easier time at it if you're out of practice or, you're new to MLA style. So it is 5 pages. That isn't a huge gap from what we're doing with our blogs, but it's like not a subjective paper. It is a research paper. So you can't like write about the things that you like. You can't use your own experience or anything like that. It's researched and quoted from experts and making an assertion and proving that over 5 pages. It's much tougher, even though it's not that much more specific writing. And I'm going to give you some checkpoints along the way this semester, starting at around the halfway point. So you have to turn in like your topic, your thesis statement, your works cited page, your outline, and then proof that you talked to the Success Center. So if you do those things, that's worth 10% of this 15%, so 10% of your final grade. So you can get some extra points that way, or 10 easy points that way. And it kind of forces you to kind of stick with it and research over an extended period of time and develop your paper that way rather than try to crunch it all in the last few days. There is a final presentation, and all the final presentation is a presentation of the findings in your paper. So you don't have to do any new research. It's all the same stuff, but you have an opportunity now to use like audio-visual elements to kind of convey your big idea from your final paper. You will have to kind of condense things. You definitely don't want to just like read your final paper to us. You want to give us a few ideas, the big idea, maybe show us a video clip or use a PowerPoint presentation to kind of reinforce what you want to get at. So it says 5 to 10 minutes in length, but last I looked, we have like 28 students in the class. So I'm going to guess that this is going to be more like 2 to 4 minutes in length. I will revise this as we get towards the end of the semester and we know for sure how many students are actually there, and I do some calculations about how we can get through it in 1 or 2 weeks. But it will be worth 10% of the grade, and these are very easy points, right? Like, again, very objective levels of measurement. Did you land between, like, if it's 2 to 4 minutes, were you within that 2 to 4 minutes? Did you stay on track? Did the audio-visual elements reinforce your point? And did you prove your point? And were you articulate in your delivery? Very, very simple, objective levels of measurement. and you get 10% that way. It's almost worth as much as your final paper. So I would kind of put these two things together, and that's kind of worth 25% of your overall grade. But I do separate them here, so you know that your final presentation, if you're not super great at writing, you can make up for it here with your oral presentation. There is an opportunity for extra credit in the course. So basically, you do an extra blog entry and you get the full points for a different blog. So maybe that didn't make so much sense. So if there's 12 blogs at the end of the semester, or 12 blog entries at the end of the semester, you could actually have 13 out of 12, right? Like if you did all of them. So your extra credit is worth the entirety of another blog entry. So if you miss one, if you get 1-0, you can make up for it with the extra credit. But I would suggest you do all of them and you do the extra credit too. In the history of this course and the other course that's kind of formatted in the same way, no one who's done all of the projects, all of the, like, if you didn't do your final paper or presentation, that would seriously mess up your grade, right? But if you submitted all of your blog entries and you did all of the stuff throughout the semester and the extra credit, no one has ever failed. That's not to say that it's impossible, but it's very, very unlikely. So do it if you can. And, you know, if you're doing really well in the course at the time, all the way toward the end of the class, maybe you don't need it. Okay, class attendance and individual responsibility. So there are no regular class meetings for the film history class. Each student will participate by watching/reading the assigned materials at a time convenient for them. It is imperative that you participate weekly, but the specific day and time is at your discretion. So we mentioned that before. You can do this at any point in the week, but make sure you do it before the next week begins, or you are behind and potentially will have a 0 for one of the assignments. It is each student's responsibility to find a way to watch the assigned films. There will be no alternatives offered. Contact the instructor if you need further guidance. So, to go a little bit more in depth with that, the films that we watch at the beginning of the semester are mostly in the public domain, which means there's no copyright associated with them anymore. They're just up on YouTube. They're on a bunch of platforms, honestly. You can find them very readily online to download, and it's not illegal to do so. So I will provide you guys with YouTube links, or maybe even include them in my videos. Since they're in the public domain, I can just splice them in, so you don't even have to jump out to a different video to watch. I may not have audio with those silent films because if the music was composed later, then there may be a copyright associated with those things. And what I always appreciate about silent films is I can add my own soundtrack, and it's a new experience every time. So I would just play some of your own music behind it, and and that may make it a more pleasant viewing experience for you. So YouTube is a good way to find silent era films, and up until even like the 1930s for some films that we'll be watching. And then HBO Max is it basically has every film that we'll watch after the 1930s or even during the 1930s. So they have a deal with Turner Classic Movies, and like every major landmark film history film is on HBO Max to stream. There are a few on Netflix, but not a lot. So if you're looking for everything to be convenient and in one location and streaming, I would recommend HBO Max. If you like physical media, I think a lot of these films are available at the Swick Library in Belleville. I'm not sure if you're on the Belleville campus, but that is an option for you. Also, if you happen to be across the river in like the St. Louis area or St. Louis County, you might even be able to do it if you're outside of St. Louis County, but can get over here. The St. Louis County Library has can grant you access to a bunch of physical media, including every film that we'll watch in the course. So hopefully that's good enough for you. If you need maybe other ideas as to how to access these things, you can certainly pay for them on Amazon Prime, and there's a few other options too. Feel free to email me and we can talk about it. Disability and Access Center. Students with disabilities who believe they may need accommodations are encouraged to contact the Disability and Access Center. There's a couple of phone numbers there for you to ensure that such accommodations are implemented in a timely fashion. So yeah, there we have maybe some new things with this online course. So if you have any kind of issue that prevents you from looking at screens for a long time, if you have a vision issue or something, maybe reach out to those phone numbers and we'll try to make accommodations for you. Student learning outcomes. The assessment of student learning is an integral part of the educational experience at Southwestern Illinois College. To this end, the faculty continually assess student learning to improve student success. Occasionally, you will be requested to participate in college-wide and or discipline-specific assessment activities. Please take these assessments seriously. The data that is collected will provide valuable information to faculty and will be used to improve student learning at SWIC. So in the last few semesters, this has happened like for all of my classes. So you may even get locked out of Blackboard until you do these surveys, and it's just basically asking whether or not we met for the entire class period, which is kind of weird with this class, but it'll ask you a bunch of questions about the course in general, whether or not it fulfilled the guidelines that we're outlaying here in this syllabus, and whether or not I responded to your communications and stuff. A bunch of things about me and how you expect you to do in the course, and it's confidential and stuff, but it does help us do a better job at SWIC, and it helps the higher ups understand what I'm doing in the class. So please do it if you do get a prompt about it. All right, ethical conduct and academic dishonesty. So academic dishonesty, there's a college policy for this. Academic misconduct includes, but is not limited to, cheating, plagiarism, and forgery, failure or refusal to follow clinical practice standards, and soliciting, aiding, abetting, concealing, or attempting such acts. Plagiarism is defined as the act of representing the work of another as one's own. Plagiarism may consist of copying, paraphrasing, or otherwise using written or oral work of another without proper acknowledgement of the source, or presenting oral or written material prepared by another as one's own. There is a no tolerance rule for plagiarism in this class. You will fail the course for plagiarized materials. I see one of these almost every semester in one of my classes. Someone's just going to kind of copy an online article about the films that we're watching and then paste it in their blog as though it's their own work. It's very, very easy for me to find this stuff out. I know that there are other resources like you can plug things into this automatic paraphrase machine and it just rearranges the words in a weird kind of way so that it's not quite as easy for me to figure out that you've plagiarized some material, but I'll figure it out that way too. It's really I always find there's no use in trying to do it, and the amount of effort it would take to conceal it in a way that I wouldn't be able to figure it out. You might as well have just written it yourself. Don't do that. Please don't do that, because you'll fail the course. There's just no way around it. This class is so focused on your writing and improving your writing over the semester, that if you do something like this, it really undercuts what the class is built around. So if you end up in a position where you really just can't get it done in time and you feel like you might do something like this, just reach out to me. Please reach out to me if you have some kind of life event that's causing you some trouble. If you need an extension one time, chances are I'll probably grant it for you. I mean, if it's like an every week thing, it'll be kind of like you're taking advantage of that, and I won't do that. But communication is key, right? So please email me if you're running into trouble, and don't plagiarize. Please don't plagiarize. Academic rigor statement. You are enrolled in an academically rigorous course. Your success in this course will require a significant investment of time outside the class. According to the administrative rules of the Illinois Community College Board, section 1501.309, it is assumed that the student will invest 2 hours of outside study time for each hour of classroom lecture time and 1 hour outside of study time for each 2-hour laboratory session. This course is approved under the Illinois Articulation Initiative. The IAI is based upon the assumption that community colleges and universities are equal partners in delivering lower division baccalaureate classes. This course is considered equal in scope, quality, and rigor to comparable courses offered at other colleges and universities in Illinois. So yeah, that's accurate. I think this would transfer to any university that offers a film history course. It would just take the place of that. Academic support services. Students needing assistance with tutoring, library research, study space, computers, and internet access may go to the library or Success Center. Academic support is available district-wide with day, evening, and Saturday service. For more details on each service, go to swic.edu/library or swic.edu/success center. In fact, you will kind of have to go to the Success Center to get a couple of points for your final paper. You don't actually have to go there in person. I'm pretty sure you can email them and they can have a little back and forth with you. You send them a rough draft of your paper, and then they can send you some notes back. If you do end up in a situation where they just won't deal with you online, that they want you to come in, but you don't feel like kind of confident or safe coming in, like on campus, like you don't have to be on campus for other reasons, reach out to me and maybe I'll find some kind of workaround rather than the Success Center. Okay. Phones in classrooms. Well, we don't have a classroom, so I think we can just kind of skip that one. Feel free to use your phone while you're listening to me talk. That's just fine. Also, if I come off as talking a little bit slow for you, we're on YouTube, and there's this really convenient thing in the bottom right. You can turn up the playback speed to 1.5 or 2, and you'll get through the videos twice as fast. Pro tip. New student orientation. All new students are encouraged to participate in the online new student orientation, where students learn about the many programs and services available to help them succeed in college. New student orientation can be found at estorm.swic.edu. I haven't been through it. I assume that it's good, though. It's probably pretty helpful to know what is available to you here at SWIC. Policy for inclement weather conditions. So go to the website if you want to learn about whether or not you have a snow day, if you have classes on campus. You can also check out the news or these radio stations and stuff. But for us, even if there's a snow day, we still have class. So quite unfortunate. This does not super apply to us. It does if you have other classes at SWIC, though. So those are the places to look. SWIC Alert, free emergency alert system, sends text messages and emails to students and employees. Again, we're not on campus for this course, but it's really important that you sign up for this stuff, especially if you do visit campus for another class. It gives you notices about one, inclement weather. So like if you're off for a snow day, you'll just get a text message about it. You don't have to check the website and stuff. But also things like once upon a time, a few years ago, there was a water main break and classes were canceled because of it. And I sat waiting for students to show up for like 2 hours, and I commuted out there and stuff when I didn't have to. And if I had signed up for this in advance, I certainly would have known and would have saved my day. So it is really important. And, you know, it could be really, really important if there was something like an active shooter situation and stuff where you don't know that it's not like a weather situation, right? But you don't want to show up to campus. Hopefully that never happens, but it's good to kind of protect yourself with something like this, just a kind of alert system. So definitely sign up for that if you haven't. Emergency procedures. General information about the emergency response and evacuation procedures for Southwestern Illinois College, I don't know why Illinois College isn't on there, are publicized each year as part of the institution's Clery Act compliance efforts. And that information is available on the Southwestern Illinois College's public safety website. Emergency response guides and plans are available on the public safety website. It's swic.edu/public safety. If you need any of that information, that's where you go. Official communication. Your student email account is the official method to communicate between you and your instructor. Official communications will not be sent to your personal email, Yahoo, Wild Blue. What is Wild Blue? Anyway, Gmail, etc. So again, yeah, if it requires some kind of confidential material, grade numbers and stuff, don't use your personal email, use your SWIC one. And, you know, honestly, if you use your SWIC email account anyway, just use that to contact me. That saves me some time trying to figure things out, because if you have a Gmail account that isn't like your name at gmail.com, I might not know who you are. Yeah, it's probably a best practice just to email me through your SWIC account, even if you're emailing my Gmail account. If it is a huge pain for you to use your SWIC account and you have a Gmail account that is like your name, like it clearly states your name in it, then I don't have much of an issue with that. But, you know, according to SWIC, you should do it this way. All right, so that was Blackboard and your syllabus. And because that took a little bit of time, I'm going to go ahead and separate this from our other videos, from our lecture video, and then I'm going to do an additional video for WordPress. So again, you don't have to use WordPress specifically for your blogs, but WordPress is really easy, and I'm just going to run you through it if you've never made a blog before. That way you can get the hang of things very, very quickly and just jump right into the course material without having a major learning curve with creating a website, essentially. So look out for that next video, which is the WordPress video, and then we'll get into the actual class stuff.